Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of CU Sports Mag. I'm Christine Lambert and you may be wondering who this is next to me on the desk, as you've never seen him in this position before. Well, wonder no more, it is the lovely Bobby Galen.
Thank you for the introduction, Tristy. It's a pleasure to be here. I've just done about everything on this show, and to sit in this chair, it's a dream come true. And now I can tell you, it just feels good to be up here. So let's go ahead and get started with some CU sports updates.
Considering the fact that all of CU's sport teams are currently competing are ranked in the top 25, the university's athletic director has been very busy this fall. Rick George addressed the media on Tuesday for the first time this year. He touched on who he's been busy talking to and the importance of CU's athletic performances so far this season.
What I do want to say going into this is, and we've been talking around the country the last few weeks, traveling around to visit with donors, is probably one of the most successful falls that CU's had in their history, and we're proud of that. I think it's the first time that all of our teams in their competitive seasons, after the announcement that soccer has ranked 23rd now, that it's the first time in our history that all of our fall sports have been ranked in the top 25 at some point. And that's important to us. It's the culture that we're trying to create in our athletic department.
After a hard-fought game, the CU football team fell to USC 21-17. The Buffs were down 14-0 at the half, but managed to come back and tie the game with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. USC responded quickly and only needed one more touchdown to keep the Buffs at bay. Freshman sensation Steven Montez threw for 197 yards with 25 completions and one touchdown pass. On the receiving side, Philip Lindsay ran for 105 yards with a touchdown. The defense for Colorado was the star in the second half. They pressured USC's defense and forced 3 second-half turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception. On CU's last play of the second half, Montez was injured, and veteran Sefo Liufau came in to try and lead a Buffalo comeback. CU looks to bounce back after this tough loss and will return home to Folsom Field this Saturday at 6 p.m.
At this week's press conference, CU head coach Mike McIntyre spoke about many different topics regarding the team, but he focused on what the Buffs need to take away from their loss against the USC Trojans and how they plan to learn from their mistakes and compete against Arizona State.
Right. USC's got some really good players too, and we never got in a rhythm offensively to be able to help out our offensive line. We didn't get the ball running. We didn't get the ball out on the edge like we should have on some of our quick passes. So we feel like that we help our offensive line out when we get that first down, and that defensive line gets worn down a little bit. Now they can't dial up all that stuff because you can't. We're not slowing down. We get moving, and that helps our offensive line out a lot. Our offensive line's played really well this year, and USC's got some very good players, just like Arizona State does, and we'll handle it and do well.
In order for the Buffs to win this weekend against Arizona State, we at SportsMag have devised 3 keys to the game. Number 1, quarterback performance. Whether CU starts veteran Sefo Liufau or up-and-coming freshman Steven Montez, the Buffs need to be a crisper and smarter in their pass selection, as well as continuing to run the ball no matter what they get their quarterback's hands into, aka slide.
And the second key, continue with the turnovers. Last week, the Buffs defense was stellar against USC, holding them to only 21 points, as well as forcing 4 turnovers. While they only turned 1 into a score, the Buffs need to continue with the heavy pressure this weekend against ASU. And the third key is third down efficiency. Converting on third down is essential if the Buffs want to break through ASU's defense. Handing the ball to Philip Lindsay would be great for getting those tough extra yards. This week, fans received great news about 2 former CU Buff football players. Herb Orvis and Chris Naoli are both being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Orvis played for the Buffs from 1968 to 1972 and was then drafted into the NFL. He played for the Detroit Lions for 5 years before moving on to the Baltimore Colts until 1981. While playing for the CU football team, Orvis received first All-American honors, was named the Big 8 Conference Newcomer of the Year, and was named National Player of the Week after a game against Penn State in 1970. He is already a member of the Big 8 Hall of Fame and the University of Colorado Athletic Hall of Fame. He will be adding the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame to that list this weekend. The NFF and College Hall of Fame and CU decided to jointly honor Orvis with an on-campus salute during the ASU homecoming game tomorrow. Now, Chris Naoli is being inducted into the Polynesian Hall of Fame. From 1992 until 1996, Naoli played on the offensive line for the CU Buffs. He was a first-team All-American as a senior. He then played for the Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars for a total of 12 seasons. Naoli will be honored at the end of January.
CU and the athletic department continue to make a commitment to sustainability. Instead of sending all of the leftover food from game day to the landfill, CU is now donating to the charity in the form of meals to local homeless shelters, teen shelters, and safe houses. Buffs Hospitality has been partnered with the anti-poverty think tank Rock and Wrap It Up. Together, they are working to repurpose usable food and assets that might otherwise go to waste. The Buffs are proud to say the latest donation included more than 125 pounds of food.
Hallie Jones from our affiliate, News Team Boulder, met up with CU freshman linebacker Sam Benyon to talk about his recent mission trip and more.
University of Colorado linebacker Sam Benyon understands this balancing act all too well. The 21-year-old freshman is participating in his first CU football season as he went on his 2-year mission immediately after he graduated high school in January of 2014.
First of all, I decided to go on my mission because I knew it was something that the Lord expected of me. I really had a sincere desire to do His work and to help Him in His vineyard, in a way to say it. I knew it was something that I needed to do and it was something that I should do.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints encourages young men to go on their 2-year mission trip when they reach the age of 18. At the time in life when many move away from home to experience life at a university, many young Mormon men make the most selfless decision, leaving their old lives behind.
We get to see people's life change. As we teach them, as we bring them closer to Christ, we can see it in their eyes, the difference that it makes. And so no matter how many people are rude or don't want to talk to us, when we get one person that we get to see the difference in their life, it makes it all worth it.
Coming out of high school, young athletes are already physically conditioned for their college athletic experience. So how does one remain in shape while not actively participating in their sport of choice?
We'd invite a bunch of the local kids to come and play soccer on this field that we had behind the church. And that's kind of how I got my conditioning in. Other than that, it was pretty much just push-ups and anything else that was in the house.
For LDS men pursuing athletic careers, the NCAA is very accommodating. The Riley Nelson rule states that student athletes who have signed national letters of intent are not permitted to be contacted by other schools while serving. This grants them the peace of mind to serve with the knowledge of what and where is next.
Graduated early to go out on my mission so I could come back early and get prepared before the season.
It's obvious that Benyon's life centers around faith and football, two institutions that provide balance, stability, and foundation.
With the homecoming game this weekend, I know 2 people who will certainly be in attendance. This year's Grand Marshals. CU has had several notable Grand Marshals, including Heisman winner Rashaan Salam and Olympians Emma Coburn and Shayala Kipp. The Grand Marshals will be involved with both the homecoming parade and pep rally, so you'll be able to see them later tonight. This week's trivia question is, who are this year's Grand Marshals? Stick around to find out.
Coming up after the break, we have one of our favorite segments, Buff Banter, where CU Sports Mag's Ali Monroy will tell us about an interesting decision Coach Mike McIntyre needs to make.
Also, make sure to stay tuned for an update on volleyball, how they've been doing, and what their schedule looks like for this upcoming weekend.
These words are all around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere, it's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors.
To respect the rights of others and accept our differences. Contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah,
but I don't know where to start.
That's why we're here. We're free, handsome.
I think we're breathtaking.
And here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this.
Is that Bran?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together.
Go to getschool.com for more info.
Ever since freshman Steven Montez defeated the University of Oregon, he has been in the starting quarterback conversation with senior Sefo Liufau. We have SportsMag's own Ali Monroy in the studio to give us some insight on who would be the starting quarterback with this weekend's game against ASU.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Ali Monroy and this is Buff Banter. We're going to talk about some more football. I know we talk about the team a lot, but it's because the Buffs are halfway through the season with a record of 4-2 and they continue to be contenders for the Pac-12 South. Even after last week's loss against USC, things have been going great in Boulder. But of course, every story needs some conflict. Head coach Mike McIntyre has continued to have a challenging question to answer for the past few weeks, which is whom of his two quarterbacks will give the team the best chance to win. Three-year captain Sefo Liufau, 6'4", 230-pound senior, is the program's all-time leading passer, and when healthy, has managed to be a consistent weapon for the Buffs. Before his injury during the Michigan game, he was en route to have the best season of his career. Thus far, Liufau has completed 54 of 76 passes for 268 yards, with 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. On the other hand, before last week's rough loss against the Trojans, Steven Montez was playing outstanding. The 6'5", 225-pound freshman had a record-setting starting debut against Oregon and dominated against Oregon State the following week. Montez's ability to execute plays as well as run the ball has made fans excited for the future, but after last week has them questioning if he should gain some more experience and maturity before being named starter. Like always, Coach Mack has said that this will be a game-time decision, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see until Saturday. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I'm Ali Monroy. Back to you guys at the desk.
The CU women's volleyball team is currently ranked 19th according to the most recent AVCA poll. After last weekend in California, the Buffs are unfortunately 0-4 on the road. They fell to Cal Berkeley 3-1 on Sunday afternoon. The volleyball team is now 10-6 overall. Later tonight, they are hoping to step up their game and win against Washington State at 8 p.m. Sunday at 4 p.m., the Buffs take on Washington. Since both of these games are in Washington, head coach Jesse Mahoney says, quote, "Everyone in our league defends their home floor well, and we have to find a way to break through on the road." You can catch these games to see if the Buffs do find a way to break through on each school's live stream.
The CU cross-country team will clash with top schools in the nation at the NCAA Pre-Nationals in Terre Haute, Indiana. In the USTFCCCA poll, the women are ranked 2nd while the men are ranked 6th. The Buffs will take on Oregon, Portland, Stanford, and Arkansas, to name a few. Due to the high amount of applicants, the races will be split into 2 groups. Indiana State will be hosting the pre-national event, as well as the NCAA Championships on November 19th.
This past Tuesday, the Colorado men's golf team participated in the University of Denver's inaugural Paintbrush Invitational, finishing in 2nd place. Colorado was in 8th place after Monday's first round, climbed up to 4th by the end of Monday, then dropped back down into 5th place once play resumed on Tuesday morning. They reached their peak at 2nd place by the end of Tuesday. Senior Ethan Freeman led the Buffs, closing with a 5 under par. He ended up placing 6th individually.
For this week's Athlete of the Week, we have selected Addison Gillum and Taylor Korniak. Korniak of CU women's soccer became the first ever freshman at CU to score 2 back-to-back goals, 2 games in a row. Not to mention, she is the first ever CU player ever to score at the game-winning goal in 3 consecutive games. Impressive work, Taylor. Addison Gillum, a junior for Buff football, is moving up in the tackle chart as a linebacker. He played 30 defensive snaps against USC, along with 5 tackles and a sack. Coach Mack has high hopes for the remainder of his season.
We have to take another break now, but don't change the channel because we are going to catch you up on soccer's rise in the rankings and tennis's time in New Mexico.
And after that, CU Sports Mag's Jesse Rainey asked students about their homecoming weekend plans on this week's edition of Man on the Street. Don't go anywhere.
ball makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're gonna turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
This is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
For the first time since 2009, the women's soccer team has found itself in the NCAA Top 25 rankings, coming in at 23rd. The Buffs haven't lost yet in conference play and only have 3 losses overall. The team is being led by 2 freshmen, midfielder Taylor Korniak and redshirt freshman goalkeeper Jalen Tompkins. Korniak has 10 goals so far this season, which is tied for first place in the Pac-12. Tompkins has a remarkable average of 0 points for 9 goals against so far, which ranks second in the conference.
CU women's soccer looks to continue a winning streak to 10 games with a match against Washington on Friday. With a win against Washington, the Buffs will be 6-0 in Pac-12 play. The women's team is ranked 23rd in the nation, and this has been their best start since joining the Pac-12 in 2011. Former Buffs will be honored during the match as a part of homecoming and alumni weekend.
Another week of Sports Mag means another week of 60 Seconds with a Buff. This week, the topic is soccer, the CU women's team to be more specific. Sports Mag's Erin Sullivan sat down with defender Alex Vidger to talk about her career and her relationship with her teammates.
Hey there, and welcome to another edition of 60 Seconds with the Buff. I'm Erin Sullivan, here with soccer player Alex Vidger. She's a sophomore defensive player from Castle Rock, Colorado. So Alex, tell me about why you decided to come to Boulder to play soccer.
Well, I've always loved the campus. I thought it was really beautiful, and they have a great journalism school, which is what I wanted to do. And I'm really close to my family, so I wanted to stay close to them. And they have a really good soccer team, too. They're in the Pac-12. It's really competitive, so I wanted to go here for that as well.
How has your personal play progressed throughout your time here at CU?
Well, it's definitely like a whole nother level from like club soccer and high school soccer. So I think I've really grown as a player, and it's way more competitive, especially in the Pac-12. Like, I feel like overall, I've just really grown. Like, my touches are better, and just like my shooting's gotten better, passing.
If you didn't play soccer and spend all your time doing that, what Boulder-like activity do you think that you would be involved in?
Well, probably CU Sports Mag, because that's really fun. But honestly, I'd probably be in a sorority or something. That's all my friends are in. But yeah.
Definitely. All right, well, thank you for tuning in to another edition of 60 Seconds with the Buff. I'm Erin Sullivan. Back to you guys.
On Wednesday, October 12th, the Colorado tennis team had a perfect day in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They went 4-0 in singles play, and they also went 2-0 in doubles for the first round opening of the ITA Mountain Regional Championships. Nuria Ormeno Ruiz and Luis Ronaldson both earned a first-round bye in doubles and a number 9 seed. Ruiz is also seeded as number 2 in the singles draw, earning a bye here as well. Players in the championship will resume today, October 14th.
The University of Colorado is a great place for a fresh start. Just ask junior tennis player Luis Ronaldson. Ronaldson, known by her teammates as Lou, recently transferred to CU from Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, Luis battled mono for 8 months, which prompted her to end tennis there. Ronaldson decided her best option was to start fresh at a new university. Luis fell in love with CU and has had a strong start, going 5-1 in doubles and singles combined at the CU Invitational.
We all know that by now that this weekend CU's homecoming game against Arizona State University, with the student alumni and community events happening this week. Many are fully prepared for the game. CU Sports Mag's Jesse Rainey went out on campus and asked around to see students' thoughts on the homecoming game.
Hi Buff fans, I'm Jess Rainey with CU Sports Mag. We're here at the UMC asking students about their plans for the homecoming weekend. Do you think the Buffs will beat ASU this weekend?
Yes. I mean, looking at the record of what's been happening, I think we have a great chance of winning.
You know, it's really just not going to be a game. I don't really think there's a point of even going because it's going to be over in the first quarter. Buffs 48-0.
The Buffs, of course. Come on. Actually, we've been doing pretty good lately, so.
Yes, we are going to dominate Arizona State this weekend.
Are you going to go to the game this weekend?
I plan on it. I don't know how long I'll stay, depending on the score.
Unfortunately, I'll be working concessions, which is like by Leeds, but I mean, if I wasn't, I would be going, but I'm always working, so. But I know a lot of people who are, so yeah, it should be good. I can't because I work, but I do have a season pass, so I do go when I'm not working.
Which quarterback do you think will be starting, Montez or Lufel?
Montez, but Cepho should start. He's a better quarterback, throws better.
Well, I think Montez has really made a push for the starting position. I think he deserves to get a chance to lead the Buffs to a victory in the first quarter. However, if his play does not stay consistent with the season, then I say we give Lufel a chance.
Montez? Because he has a cool last name.
I hope Lufel starts if he's healthy, but Montez is a great backup quarterback if we need someone.
That's all we have time for today. I'm Jess Rainey. This has been Man on the Street. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up after our last break, we have an update on CU men's basketball and how they were planned to recover after a rough first scrimmage.
And we have Cyrus Allen to serve up another sweltering edition of Rapid Fire, and we'll finally give you the answers to this week's trivia question.
Coming up after the break, we have football, we have volleyball, we have tennis, and we have soccer. Don't go anywhere.
That was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
No, what'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Mom, I'm on the phone!
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right.
Sorry.
Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
This Saturday, the CU men's basketball team will hold a practice and inter-squad scrimmage at CU Event Center. Head coach Tad Boyle announced that these events are open to the public. He hopes that the team will bounce back from their not-so-stellar performance from their scrimmage last week. The event will open at 2, and the team will hold a first practice for their first 45 minutes and then scrimmage from 2:45 onward. After the basketball game, visitors can head over to Folsom Field, where CU football takes on Arizona State.
I think it's about time to crank up the energy and turn on the heat. We've got all the hottest news on CU's upcoming sporting events, and we've got Cyrus Allen in the studio to give you this week's sizzling edition of Rapid Fire.
Welcome to Rapid Fire. I'm Cyrus Allen, and this is what's happening this week in CU sports. First up, we have the homecoming game between the CU Buffs and the Arizona Sun Devils at 6 p.m. here at Folsom Field. Dress up for that and bring your date. Maybe you can become homecoming queen and king at the Parade on Pearl Street Friday night. On Sunday at 4 p.m., we have the volleyball team where they will travel to Washington to play the Huskies, where they will set up their team for victory and spike away those Huskies. Also on Sunday, we have the tennis team that will be playing all day at the last day of the ITA Mountain Regional Tournament in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They will look to serve away their competition, and after that, we move to Thursday, where the 23rd ranked soccer team takes on Stanford in California at 7 p.m. The team looks to continue their undefeated streak in the Pac-12, where they will try to shoot past the Cardinal and get the win. That's what's coming up this week. I'm Cyrus Allen. Back to you guys at the desk.
Earlier we asked you, who are the grand marshals for this year's homecoming game? And the answer is Betty Fitzgerald and the 91-year-olds have been supporting every CU team for over 45 years and have hardly missed a football game or basketball game in all the years as fans. You can catch them tonight at the Homecoming Parade, which starts at 7 p.m. at the Pearl Street Mall, and the pep rally, which begins right after the parade ends.
The seasons are changing, but the birds are still chirping, or should I say, tweeting. That reminds me, we need to fill you guys in on the wonderful world of Twitter with our newest edition of Tweet of the Week. This week's tweet comes from the football team's co-offensive coordinator, Darren Chiaverini, where he says, "The rise isn't just about wins and losses. It's about developing a culture of accountability and consistency. Commit to the process. #TheRise." That's right, Buff fans. Keep up the support and your Buffs will continue to rise every given Saturday.
So, Christy, this is the weekend of the big homecoming game. What are your plans?
Well, obviously I'll be rooting for the Buffs. I'm thinking about heading over to the student tailgate on Folsom Field around 3, grabbing some good food and then just going to the game after.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the same thing. Of course I'll be at the game, but the student tailgate sounds pretty fun, actually. I hear they'll even have some games and some music.
Oh yeah, I'm not just going for the food, Bobby. You know I would never miss a chance to do some dancing before a football game.
Oh, I know, Christy. I know.
Well, unfortunately, it's that time of the show again. That part where everyone gets a little bit emotional. It's okay, Bobby. Sports Mag will be back again next week.
I know. It's just, I love it so much, and it was just so fun anchoring today. I just don't want it to end, you know?
I do know, but that's why Sports Mag is on every single week.
You're right. So tune in next week, same time, same place, to get even more updates on CU sports.